Hey, how you doing? This is Carvel Bailey. I want to share something with you real fast again today. So I was actually watching a college basketball practice the other day. Stopped in and was watching, actually watching my old school, South Suburban College practice, and was talking to one of my former players who's now there as an assistant coach. And the conversation that I had with him is why I want to talk to you all today, because he was like, "Man, coach, like I'm learning so much, and it's so much more that I see from the game that I didn't see as a player." And so my conversation with him, and mind you, he was an average player in high school that played for a low performing team, but he was the star of his team, right? He was an average player. Listen to me. He was an average player coming out of high school on a low performing team, but he was the star of the team, and he carried them on his back, and he was a winner in so many different ways. And so that's why he was recruited, right? So he was able to catch the eye of a coach that understands basketball. He was able to catch the eye of a coach that not only sees potential, but can understand if you're coachable or not just by your mannerisms and how you act and how you perform on and off the court. So anyway, speaking with him, and I explained to him, I said, listen, I want you to understand this. There are 5 different vantage points that you can view the game from. And oftentimes, if you want to be a better athlete, you should understand those 5 vantage points, right? So the first vantage point is that of a player. And he was saying, man, you know, when I was playing, I was just thinking of when I was a player and I was on the court, I was just making sure that I didn't do anything wrong. That's now, again, he was a great player for us. You know, we went to nationals. He was a great player. But he said, I wanted to make sure I wasn't doing anything wrong. Do you know the level of pressure that is for an average student athlete? And most student athletes are faced with this. When they get on the court, they're more concerned with not making mistakes than doing things right. So the first perspective is as a player. And most players are thinking, right, let me not mess up. Let me not mess up. And so they're only thinking of what their job is, and they're leaving all the other intangibles out the way, right? I used to tell players, well, how come you didn't help? And they say, well, that wasn't my man, right? You know how the emoji is, right, to do that. So, and especially in transition, there's no such thing as you have a man. That's for a whole nother class, whole nother topic, whole nother day. But the first vantage point is as a player. The second vantage point is you should look at the game from a coach's perspective, right? You should look at the game, meaning now as a coach's perspective, you're looking at the entire game. You're looking at all the small details, everything that's going on. You're looking at the intangibles. Right now you're looking at what our coaches seeing, what our coaches doing. Oftentimes, again, players, they're thinking, let me not mess up. But then they do something and they don't think they messed up, yet the coach takes them out the game because they did mess up. Player has no understanding what they did. Like, well, like I was supposed to, wait, or what, nothing happening on my side of the ball. Well, get some movement, right? Coach take you out because you're just standing, or you're making you're giving the defense an advantage because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. On the defensive end, right, you're guarding your man, but you aren't helping out. So you want to be able to look at the game from a coach's perspective so that you can see the game as a whole, be able to see all the small details, what players are doing, what players aren't doing, what they should be doing, just based on how you see the flow of the game, the continuity of the game going, okay? The third vantage point that's really meaningful for players. It's really meaningful for coaches also. It taught me how to be a better coach. I didn't start looking at it from this vantage point until I was, in fact, a college head coach. Then I started looking at it from that standpoint, but it wasn't until I was a college head coach to where it was recommended to me, if you want to be a better coach, Carvel, you should come to the officials clinic. right? So the third vantage point, you want to look at the game from an official's vantage point. Now, how do officials look at the game? They're looking at their sections, right? They're looking at plays on the ball. They're looking at plays off the ball. They're looking to make sure that the game is played the right way and fair. Okay, but when you look at the game from, and it's a whole lot of other things that they are looking for. But now when you look at the game from an official standpoint, right? A coach may get mad and say, well, that was his call or that was her call. Well, no, the play didn't initiate there, or the foul happened before it got into that other official's vicinity or area. And so as a coach, it helped me not argue so many calls, not try to defend so many calls, but it also helped me to understand how to better coach my team, how to better educate and teach my athletes on things that the officials would be looking for, so that I can then give them an unfair advantage because other teams and other players didn't know exactly what the officials are looking for. So you have the player's vantage point, where they're looking, what am I not going to do wrong? You have the coach's standpoint, right? All the details, all the intricacies that's going on. Then the third vantage point you have is the official, right? Now they're looking at areas, looking at different things of the game that no one else is really paying attention to. And then we have 4 and 5, and they're almost coupled together. But 4 is that of the fan, right? The fan, their team can do no wrong. Now the fan is complaining about everything. The fan will cheer, but the fan really biggest job other than cheering is complaining, right? And really complaining to the referees, not really complaining to the coach, or even complaining about the players doing or not doing what they're supposed to do. Most fans, their vantage point, they only see the good that their team is doing, and everything else that goes against their team is like phooey, right? Bad. So you have the fan vantage point. And then the fifth vantage point that I always find interesting is that of the parent, right? Now, the vantage point of the parent, well, parents want the best for their kids, right? Parents are fans, but the vantage point of a parent is they're specifically focusing on their child, on their athlete, right? So they aren't looking at it from a player standpoint. They aren't looking at it from a coach's standpoint, an official standpoint, or a fan standpoint. They're looking at it as the parent and what is my baby doing? What is my baby not doing? Why aren't they passing my baby the ball? They fouling my baby, right? That was a bad call on my baby. Everything is my baby, right? So, and parents oftentimes aren't necessarily thinking from an official standpoint or from a coach's standpoint. So they just have the energy of a fan, but they have the mindset of a parent, and they want to protect their kid. So oftentimes parents are boisterous, right? Loud, oftentimes disrespectful. And that also plays into the psyche of the athlete. So now if the athlete is not mentally strong, if the athlete is not mentally focused, right? They aren't paying attention to all 5 perspectives, but they are actually consuming all 5, because you have the parent talking to them, you have the fans talking to them, they're trying to understand what the refs are dealing with, their coaches on them, and now them just as a player, they like, man, I can't do nothing right, man, like what's going on? So then you have athletes that become literally like stuck. They are stuck because they can do all these different drills and all these different things, with their trainer or in, development sessions. But when they get onto the court, they can't put it all together because they don't understand those 5 vantage points. So I want you to be able to understand those 5 vantage points. Parents, help your student athlete understand those 5 vantage points. Coaches, help your athletes understand those 5 vantage points. Okay, because they have to be ready here, right? All the drills in the world won't help any athlete if they aren't ready here. And so as they sit down and watch these games, right? As they sit down and watch, if it's the NBA, NCAA, high school basketball, grammar school, whatever it may be, as they're watching games, a way to get great practice is to look at it from really just the first 3 vantage points, right? Especially athletes. Athletes, look at it from the first 3. As a player, coach and as an official. I just gave you 4 and 5 as a bonus, as a, you know, what the fans are looking at and what the parents are looking at. Once you get your mind together, then all the other things will come together, because now you start playing and you really have an unfair advantage because you're thinking the game totally different from everybody else. So listen, if you haven't had a chance to check out my free case study video where I explain more things to be able to help parents save money on college by helping your kid get that college scholarship. Most of the things that you've been told and the ways or the only ways to get a college scholarship, that might be true, but that's not the full truth. Okay, that may not be false, right? But it may not be the full truth. So it's not just one way. It's not just a cookie cutter way. And most parents are more concerned with getting their child physically developed and not mentally developed, so that their physical development can enhance and increase much faster and much greater. So listen, go check out the free case study video I did at b2bsdhoopsmastery.com. b2bsdhoopsmastery.com. I normally, it's probably somewhere down here, or it may be up top if you're looking at this video, no matter where you're looking at it at. But go check out the free case study video and get better educated. Get better educated to be able to help your athletes. And if you would like for my help, me and my team, to be able to help you and your athlete understand not only the 5 vantage points, but really focus in on the 3, so they can have an unfair advantage and put themselves in position to get themselves noticed by a college, get offered a college scholarship, and not only a college scholarship, but the right college scholarship. Because while every parent is looking for a college scholarship, every school is not the right school for your athlete. And you need to know how to separate and to attack those things. So if you like my help, then you can shoot me inbox, shoot me an email, or just go to b2bsdhoopsmastery.com, and from there it can help you. I hope this resonates with you and your athlete, and share the information. Oh, don't forget to check out our YouTube page at Coach Carvel Bailey, all social media at Coach Carvel Bailey. All right, talk to you on the other side. Peace.